I'm here with Daniel Khayat. He's an alumnus of Vault at our MBA program in London. He's agreed to join us today to talk about the hardware side and the technological side of AR and VR. And he's very competent to talk about that because he's the head of product and head of Viveport at HTC in the Middle East. Daniel, thank you very much for finding the time to speak with us today. And
thank you, Francesco. It's a pleasure as well to engage with you and your students and whoever is working on future technology.
So I would really like, since you are an expert in this and you have a very good understanding of where the technology is standing, where the technology is coming from, and where it's going as well, if you could give us a bit of insight around the different platforms that exist and where is the technology there, so the components. How are we doing with the components? What are the next developments that we need? What seems to be missing at this point?
As you know, XR technologies in general, which combines virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, what we call them in short terms, VR, AR, MR. These are still technologies that are converging all together in today's world. We still don't have studies that segregate them per se. We still talk about them as one technology that at some point in the future, we see when the introduction of 5G, they will merge all together to provide maybe a new technology that us as a human being will be using on a daily basis, or maybe it's gonna become mainstream. Coming back to the main question where you asked about the actual players or the actual components of this ecosystem, we see that there should be a balance between the software provider and the hardware provider. And for us as HTC, although we provide the Vive, which is the premium headset for premium VR experience, as well as thanks to the two cameras up front, you can mix virtual reality along with augmented reality to have a mixed reality together. We need to couple it with a strong software application. So whether it's HTC or the competition from Oculus or other Pico in China or others in the market, we need to have a strong player on the software part. And until today, we don't have one company that provides all solutions. I'm sure you've noticed recently in the Consumer Electronics Show in CES, we've announced few products around specific tracking, inside-out tracking, and some software about Vive Reality, where we will be working in the near future in 2019 on an operating system for virtual reality, which today we don't have a clear operating system. We are using Android-based systems. So going back to the same point, the balance of software and hardware is extremely important. When it comes to software, it's not just a simple application to code and to just deliver a content. It's a full video production / graphics / user experiences all together, combined, stitched together until we go and program it and deliver a VR application. All this put it together will give us the virtual reality ecosystem that we are talking about.
Excellent. So if I understand correctly, there is a progress that's required along at least three dimensions. One is the hardware, the new components that you're working on. The second one is the content, as we mentioned. So content developed partly in-house, but if I understand, the ecosystem will have new players. And the third one you mentioned that is very interesting is a new operating system, because the existing operating systems you're using, they are just being adapted to a use that they were not initially meant for. And so is this operating system something that you will be developing internally, if this is not confidential, of course? Yeah. So
actually, we've teased about it in CES, and it's something that's internally been discussed. I always relate the example previously. If you remember when Microsoft started their mobile operating system, and it was the Microsoft Mobile OS. At that time, it was supposed to be a breakthrough, then it failed miserably. And the reason is that the mindset of the user was used to a mouse, and I have to click the mouse, then I have the menu bars. And when they moved it to a smartphone, they took it as it is to embrace a smartphone experience. While when we as a human are interacting with a smartphone screen, we felt it's not the case, and this is not what we want. And the same example as you mentioned now, what was meant to be an Android operating system or an Android experience, now we don't see it's for virtual reality experience. So this is why I can see the similarity in the two examples and the way things are moving forward.
I think this is a great example. So if I can also distill what you just said, there is a critical difference in the way the interface, the user interface should work when you move from a laptop to a touch screen, and even more so when you move from a two-dimensional screen to a three-dimensional immersive experience. And so you're going to develop your own because the current solutions don't.
It is exactly, and I also give another example. When we think about browsing the internet, we are used to a platform where it's a simple browser, whether it's Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, or Safari. But if we want to take this experience to a virtual world, we should not be thinking the same way we were thinking on a smartphone or on a tablet or on a PC. And these are the challenges that today's world, our engineers are thinking about and trying to find what's the best for a user experience.
Where do you see the bulk of investment going now? What is the biggest development we need in the nearest future?
It's a very good question, and it's also a difficult question to predict. The main thing, if I want to think from a consumer or from a business-oriented perspective, we need to get the big players to embrace those technologies. We need those big top 5 players in the world to say that we are going to take this direction to the next level. I can say that Facebook has already decided to do so, and this is what they're doing in Oculus. The others are a bit in and out, whether Microsoft a little bit with their also proposition and their offering, and the rest they are still maybe waiting and seeing what the results will end up in the near future. Having said that, combining all these together is extremely important. But from my perspective is that the app stores where we host these applications that are developed by third-party developer will make the big difference in the market. Today, historically speaking, whether iTunes or whether the Google App Store or all of these application stores where the marketplace for people to download, purchase, upload, or sell their applications made the big difference in the offerings. I'll give you a simple example. When we were in smartphones, we really loved our Blackberries. We really loved maybe our Microsoft phones. But the lack of applications, of basic communication applications, and if you remember at the start, the likes of WhatsApp took some time, the likes of Facebook took some time, the likes of Messenger took some time, on the likes of BlackBerry and Microsoft. And this is what got people off these platforms and got people to really embrace other platforms and migrate to a different system. This is extremely important. From HTC's perspective, we have an app store which is called Viveport. When today it hosts around 3,000 applications. We're very creatively working on offering those applications to our customer, whether it's through subscriptions or through straight download procedures or download applications. And also now we've just announced the Netflix of applications on VR, which is the Viveport Infinity, which is again something new, something on demand, something that you can pay one fee and have everything access to you, just to get more people to use the applications, to engage with those software applications, so developers can get feedback, improve their applications, and the better those applications are, the better the customer experience is, the faster the technology is going to be moving towards a more developed environment.
Excellent. I think this is an excellent point. So you are developing an operating system which will be the core of the whole platform, and then, if I understand correctly, this will drive user engagement, feedback for developers, so the developers will develop better apps, which will attract further users. And if I also understand, these user base will also give you the data and the insight to improve on the hardware. So it would be at the center of an ecosystem.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Daniel, I want to thank you really very much for being with us tonight. Well, it's tonight for us recording, but our students will watch you at different moments in time. It's been really a pleasure, super insightful. And if we get any brilliant insights from this nano course, we'll be sure to share them with you.
Thank you, and all the best to everyone.
Thank you very much.